This is Hargeisa. It is a major city of more than 800,000 people. Considered internationally as one of the safest cities in East Africa, it has over the recent years become a frequent tourist destination. It is also the capital of the self-declared Republic of Somaliland. Somaliland is a country. Well, the idea of Somaliland being separate from Somalia in today's world is just as ridiculous as the Ogaden or the Northern Frontier District being separate from Somalia in the 1960s and 70s. To understand why I believe it should not be an independent country, let's go back through Somalia's recent history. Back when Somalia was a socialist state, political dissent was rising due to the government being composed of Siad Barre's family, even as he said he was not placing his family in administrative positions. This angered many Somalis far from the centralized government in Mogadishu and began many secessionist movements, including the Somali National Movement. In 1988, the Somali National Movement seized control of Hargeisa, which was at the time considered the second capital of Somalia. In retaliation, Siad Barre ordered an airstrike on the city, killing thousands and flattening the city. This was the direct reason as to why Somaliland is so secessionist today. 3 years later, in 1991, the Somali Democratic Republic completely disintegrated into all-out civil war. Somaliland immediately seceded from the rest of Somalia and had worked extremely hard to maintain peace in their territory. As of 2018, Somaliland has managed to maintain peace with the Khartoum state in southeastern Somaliland, as well as Puntland's administration. Between the years 1991 and 2018, the Somalilanders, government and people included, worked extremely hard to whip Somaliland into shape, and their hard work has paid off, with Somaliland being one of the safest places to visit in East Africa for tourists. With many international trade deals with Ethiopia, the Arabian Gulf, and China, Somaliland is on the rise, with the country's rapid industrialization. Soon, Somaliland may well be one of the most desirable vacation spots in East Africa. Now, let's analyze Somaliland's geography. It is bordered by Djibouti in the northwest, Somalia in the east, Ethiopia in the south and west, and the Arabian Sea to the north. In the north of the country runs the Ogo mountain range and the Al Mado mountain range, the only two places where high-quality vegetation grows naturally in the country. There is only one major river throughout the entire country, and even still, the Togder River is a seasonal one, which dries up during parts of the year. There are no lakes in the country. Almost every village and city in Somaliland relies on water pumps and wells to obtain water. Without water, there is very little farming, and the desert does not provide good soil anyway. With such harsh conditions, it would be nearly impossible for Somaliland to advance as a nation without losing lots of money in trade for bare necessities like water and food staples. Now let's shift down to Somalia. Somalia is surrounded by the Indian Ocean on the north, east, and southeast borders Kenya in the southwest, Ethiopia in the west, and Somaliland in the northwest. Somalia has recently undergone major change, and with the status of the government cemented in the world community, it can officially access the World Bank and the world arms industry, where the government can receive loans and buy military equipment and training. The country can receive much needed aid in a shorter amount of time, and with its official status as a country, its passport holders are recognized by every country in the world, unlike Somaliland, whose passports are only considered by 8 countries. Somalia's government also has near complete control of the country's territory now, including the autonomous regions of Puntland, Galmudug, Koonfur Galbeed, and Jubaland. Somalia may still have problems with terrorism and rebel groups, but with its international friends and allies, the rebels could be eradicated soon. Let's take a look at Somalia's topography. Somalia has two major rivers, the Shabelle and the Juba. Somalia also has many other smaller rivers which are tributaries of larger rivers in Ethiopia, Somalia, and Kenya, including Ewasongiro, also known as Lagadera in Somalia, Dawa, Anole, and Ail. Somalia's climate in the south is also cool enough to cultivate agriculture, including bananas, date palms, rice, wheat, grapes, and more. The many wells in southern Somalia sustain the village populations, but when the wells dry, there are many options for water in the area, such as migrating to a river or a tributary. Also, Somalia's coastline is not blocked by mountains, meaning it is easier for the people to develop fishing industry. Somalia also produces sugar, coffee, and sesame seeds to the world. All in all, Somalia would be able to survive as a state much longer than Somaliland could on its own. Now back to the topic on why Somaliland as a country should not exist. Somaliland, due to the previous reasons mentioned, would ultimately fail as a state if another hard drought hit the country. Somalia would also be badly hit, but would be able to recover due to the rivers in the south. Somaliland should also be a part of Somalia because of this fact. As a state or province of Somalia, as opposed to an independent country, the state or provincial government in Hargeisa would force the federal government in Mogadishu to help Somaliland, which it would be inclined to do since the government would not want another secession. Also, both Somaliland and northern Somalia are extremely rich in oil. If Somalia were united, the oil would benefit the Somaliland region with tax money, and countries from around the world would be marketable to because of its recognized legitimacy as a state of Somalia. It would benefit Somalia too because Somalia would be able to apply national taxes on top of that, boosting income in the whole country and making Somalia more inclined to help Somaliland make more money for the country. It's a win-win situation for both parties. Puntland is a perfect example of this. While right now in 2019, Puntland is, for the most part, autonomous, and as the Somali government gains more power, Puntland should, and probably will, become one of the member states of Somalia, along with the other autonomous regions. Together, they would function as a union of provinces or states under a central government in Mogadishu, where the states would have representation in Somalia's government. Somaliland would be missing out of this representation due to its stand on being independent. If this hasn't been made clear to Somalilanders, I'll state it in one sentence. Somaliland needs Somalia in the future, not the other way around. If Somaliland continues as an independent state, Puntland could continue to provide oil sales for the country, and Puntland would take all of the benefit from Somaliland due to its actual legitimacy in the world. To conclude, I must reiterate that I have absolutely no problem with Somaliland's national identity or its independence. But Somaliland's government must realize that in the future, Somaliland will eventually need to rejoin Somalia, or it will undergo unfortunate consequences which all Somalis would not want. I must also state that this is an opinionated piece, meaning the audience has a freedom to agree or disagree with my statements. I don't hate Somaliland, and I am not choosing a side. I am just bringing facts and forming an opinion based on the facts. If you disagree with me, please feel free to write why in the comments. Also, it would be very helpful if you shared this video, liked it, and subscribed to this channel for more Somalia-based content like this. Somalia must unite if it is to overcome its hardships and move forward in the future.